whole genius of God's handiwork we see in creation as evidence of His existence.
Okay, so there are several points there. There is the creation of matter. There is morality. There is the origin of animal life.
Right.
Right. So let's break this down into actual segments. Would you like to choose one?
Yeah, animals. What's the difference between man and animals?
Biochemically.
No, just what's the difference? Why do we perceive ourselves as being the highest form of creation, although we can't call it creation?
I have
What's
no
the
problem
difference
to you
between
using
us?
the word. There are, in terms of biochemistry, there is virtually none. We are all made up of the same type of cells, well, at least with the other mammals. We have very similar DNA. It is all the same. It is all whatever deoxyribonucleic acids.
So that's a language, isn't it? DNA is a language.
Yeah.
So how could you say that happened by accident? If you saw written on the sand, Tommy come home at 12 o'clock for lunch, written on the sand, you would know from what you see as an intelligent mind put it there.
It's an interesting point. How do you know that writing was done by a person?
Because you're a reasonable being. You have the power of reason.
No, well, there is a heuristic that you've gone through here to assess whether that writing on the beach was from a person or not from a person.
Did you say it happened by accident?
The accident isn't really an option. You have, if you want to call people different from nature, you have naturalistic patterns and non-naturalistic patterns. Yeah. Right? So you have actually gone through, you have observed a pattern, and then you have to assess, was this actually, is this a naturalistic pattern or is this a non-naturalistic pattern?
I see the difference between man and animals is that man is a moral creation.
Let's keep on the writing of the pattern.
Okay.
So let's resolve this one first. So, I mean, you've said previously on your videos, that a painting is a painter. Well, what are the metrics that you use to assess that a painting was actually done by a painter?
Common sense.
So it is an inductive reasoning. You have seen people, so it's entirely empirical.
Well, a child can figure that out, even without the experience.
Right, but it's intuitive reasoning.
Of course.
So, if you have the reason that paintings are done by painters is because you've seen paintings painters do paintings.
But I'd still know it even if I hadn't seen a painter do it.
Would you?
Yes, I know. My reason to say that painting couldn't have happened by itself.
Can rainbows just happen by themselves?
No, God created them.
Did He?
So I know. It says it in Scripture.
Okay, does God create the rain as well?
Yes.
So it has nothing to do with moisture rising into coalers and condensing.
That's how He put it together.
Right.
The genius of God's creator's hand is seen throughout the whole of creation. You can see this order in creation. The evaporation,
let's take snow. I mean, we're in California, so it's a bad place, but
it's only 2 hours we get snow from you up at the mountains here.
The idea that nearly pure crystalline water would fall from the air, what are the chances of that happening?
I don't know.
Well, they do happen. It's observed to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? So, but you would agree that no one is creating the snow.
God created the snow. Everyone is different. It's beautiful.
So it has nothing to do with crystallization.
That's what the process that God used to create snow.
This is a shell game.
Can you make snow?
Yes.
I mean, from nothing?
So you are asking, can I violate the law of conservation of energy?
That's right. You can't make anything from nothing.
Yes. But again, that's just an empirical observation.
So let's get back to this issue. The difference between man and animals I see is that man is a moral being.
I just want to finish up on this.
Okay.
The painters make paintings as the empirical observation, right? There is no such empirical observation for the universe being created. The two are non-comparable
You
events.
can't make an absolute statement like that. You can say, I don't
They
know
are
any.
yes, they are non-comparable events, right?
But you can't say an absolute statement, there is no evidence. You have to have all knowledge to make a statement like that. You've got to say, with the limited knowledge I have at present, I don't believe
Yes.
there's evidence.
Okay, but if you are going to go down this line, then you can achieve nothing. You're into nihilism. You can know nothing. You don't even know that you are here having this conversation.
You can know the truth. It's all in Scripture.
Yes, but you don't even know whether you exist, let alone whether Scripture.
Oh, I know I exist.
How?
Because I'm a human being. Being means that you're aware of your existence.
You've made assumptions to get there. You've assumed that the universe is real and you can learn something about it. Mm-hmm. These are the bedrock assumptions for the growth of knowledge. Mm-hmm. After that, you can start appraising mechanisms by which things happen in the universe. And you can do this by gaining data and finding out what is the most acceptable explanation for this data. This is what we would call a theory in science. Right. And this is where you get Newtonian mechanics, Einstein, relativity, quantum mechanics,
right.
And so on.
So can we go on now to the difference between man and animals?
Okay, but just to make it clear, I think there is non-parity between saying I'm cool with the observation, the empirical observation that painters make paintings. However, there is no comparison that gods make universes.
So you believe?
I don't see that there is a comparison.
That's right. Well, that's good. That's your opinion. That's
yes.
fine. So the difference, I believe, between man and animals is that man is a moral being. That we set up court systems where none of the other animals care about justice and truth. But man is separate because he has a conscience. He has a knowledge of right and wrong because I believe he's made in the image of God. You're made in the image of God. We're a fallen creation, but you're made in the image of God. You're a rational person. You can create music. You can appreciate a sunset. You know right from wrong. And that's the difference, I believe, between man and animals.
So, what is a conscience?
Well, the word con means with, and the word science means knowledge. Okay. With knowledge. So God has given you a conscience. As the Scripture says, He's given light to every man. You know right from wrong.
But essentially this is a heuristic for determining a worth of behaviours within a society.
Yeah, but even if it's not dictated by society, we still know right from wrong. You get a man brought up by wolves. He comes to New York. He goes out as a 20-year-old, been here 10 minutes, rapes a woman and murders her. And the judge says, oh, you didn't know right from wrong because you're brought up with wolves. The judge would throw the book at him because every human being has a knowledge of right from wrong.
Have you any concept of something called the biological leash?
Oh, tell me about it.
There are certain characteristics of people which are intrinsic. The most obvious one being facial expressions. Even if someone is brought up by wolves, they smile when they're happy. They acquire things like body language.
Right.
Even blind children have never seen a smile will smile. There are other things that are intrinsic as well, like the ability for language. So
is that instinctive? It's different.
It's essentially, there is that balance between what is instinctive, and then there is a sort of smooth transition to things that are cultural. Yeah. So, for instance, polygamy, for instance, would be probably a cultural thing. You could probably even go to the Bible for it.
Yeah.
And that Solomon had what?
1,000 concubines.
50-50, whatever, 500 wives, 500 concubines, something like that. Mm-hmm. Right? And that was acceptable in the time.
For a king.
Yeah. I mean,
my mind boggles.
Well, I even keeping track of the names, yes. But so things like polygamy, there is some considerable flexibility there. And then there are things like murder and lying. Now these are also things which there is relatively little flexibility on. If you actually want, if you have a stable society, right? You don't observe unstable societies because they die out. Yeah. So if you have a stable society,
is America a stable society?
It propagates, yes. But if, for instance, your murder rate exceeds your birth rate, then the society is extinct. It cannot. It's non-viable. Yes. It's a simple way. So there is an absolute limit to the amount of murder that can be accepted within a society. Yeah. So there is an absolute limit on morality. Right? And then there is a degree of flexibility in there as well. You know, there especially in more poorer societies, the tolerance of say murderers is much less than in a rich society. You know? So that there is an absolute, right, if you like, there is an absolute morality here, right? There is an absolute limit to it, and then there is some flexibility. This is what you would call the biological leash. Lying is another one. The only reason we have language is for the transfer of information. Right? If someone actually lies to you as much as not, then there is no point in language. The mere fact that we have language shows that we are a trustworthy species.